everyone, and welcome to the Zelda Cast here on ZeldaDungeon.net. My name is Andy Spiteri, joined, as always, by my pal and yours, Allison Aletha. What is going on, Al? It feels like it's been multiple weeks since last week's episode. Lots of new news to try and sift through. How's your head feeling with everything?
You know, I was telling you before we started the show that sometimes, especially when you're just like, you're living your own life, you have your own and stuff going on and work and family and whatever, you just have to check out for a minute. So when we were like rehashing what we need to talk about, I was like, some of this is new news to me, because after Tuesday, I was like, I need to check out for a second just for my own mental health.
Indeed.
And that's not to say that, like, there's a lot of bad. There's some fine information. It's not to say that everything is horrible. It's just that there's a lot happening at once, and you just need a minute.
Indeed you do. Like the last 2 weeks, I felt like we did our show, and then I did Omega the next day, and by the time that the episode was from the time it was recorded to the time it was released, some of the information that we were theorizing about or discussing was already old information, and it had already been not relevant anymore. So it's just holy moly, is there ever a lot of stuff going on? I want to say a few things off the top here. Number one is that I was expecting a lot of really negative feedback for last week's episode. I was ready for it. Anytime the show has to mention something that is outside of the bounds of Legend of Zelda and maybe touches on politics, we get slammed for it. So I was ready for it, but I will say I didn't really hear or see any negative feedback. In fact, the opposite. So thank you to everybody for not leaving us a bunch of 1-star reviews. That's really cool of you. I think it does kind of speak to the universal displeasure with everything that's been going on. So that was really cool. And then the other thing I guess I would say is we'll bring it back to some happier Zelda news today for sure, and we'll talk about this new Age of Imprisonment trailer and some thoughts on the game here. So everybody can enjoy a more normal, I guess, episode of the show. Although we do have some stuff to cover before we do that. And the third thing I want to say is, immediately after we were done last week, Al was just like, "Hey, do you ever check the Spotify comments?" And I had to admit, I was like, "No, I didn't even think to do it." And so I pulled open Spotify and I was looking at the comments, and I went back 10 episodes or something like that. There was all these comments, and I was like, oh my god, I didn't know people commented on our show here, and someone even said I don't think they read these comments or whatever. And so I wanted to first and foremost apologize and say sorry for my I don't even know I'm finally entering 2025 and checking out the comments on a Spotify episode. So I'm gonna I'll try to comment a little bit more often over on those Spotify episodes. I did leave a comment on the last one that we did. If you see a comment from a Spiteri, it's me. So just throw that out there. And we did a Q&A episode a couple weeks ago, and we totally missed everybody's questions in Spotify. If you asked us a question in the last 5, 6 episodes or something like that, we will put it on our next Q&A, which, by the way, is coming next week. So we're going to be taking some fan questions, and it could be about the Switch 2, it could be about Age of Imprisonment, it can be about, Wind Waker, maybe Wind Waker HD, whatever. Throw them out there, and we will answer them on our Q&A episode, which is coming next week. Okay, so let me see if I can get this all right, because we have a lot of quick news to blitz through following last week's schmoz of announcements here. So from the time last week till present day, which is 12:30 Spiteri time on a Sunday, we have had a couple things drop. Number one, pre-orders for the Switch 2 are just kibosh altogether in North America. So Canada, we're included in that. Not good. Number two is that there was a pause on these tariffs coming into effect for a time period of 90 days.
Hmm.
I can't remember if there's like still going to be a 10% tariff on it or
There
not.
is. It's 10% for everybody except for China.
Right.
Yes.
So yeah, that's probably neutral news. Not great, not awful. It's just the
It is what it is.
yes,
It's
the
still
stay
an
of
ever-changing situation.
the execution date has just been pushed back a little bit. Now that does take us past the Switch 2's launch date, which is at least is something. And I've also heard that like apparently Nintendo has been stockpiling like a lot of Switch 2s already in North America.
Okay.
So maybe that's good news. Another piece of good news we had is apparently the tariffs do not apply to electronic goods, is what I have heard. If that is not true, I don't shoot me, but that's what I've heard. So
Hmm.
wanted to throw that out there, and that is good news, I would think, right? So that's at least something. We still don't have pre-order dates yet for Switch 2. I don't know. I feel like I'm not like super concerned for me. I think it'll work itself out. And for whatever reason, if we don't get the Switch 2 on day one, at least for me, it's not like Switch we had to get day one because Breath of the Wild was coming there. I don't feel that way about Mario Kart World. I don't know about you.
So I'm kind of in the same boat where I'm not too worried. Again, like last week, I said that I just am choosing not to panic about any of this. And I think in the end, if Nintendo was concerned about that June 5th date, they would probably tell us sooner rather than later. 'Cause it would be really unfortunate to tell us when it was being released and then tell us a week
Yeah.
later that it's not happening. So I think it's just like we just have to keep our eye out, keep waiting, keep seeing what's going to happen. And Nintendo's in the same boat. And so I feel fine that I'm going to get the Switch 2 on June 5th or not. It's fine. I have my thing is I want it by August because I have the marathon that I have to get ready for. And obviously that's a very niche, situation to be in. So I'm not concerned for myself, but I get it where people were like really excited and wanting it day one. And this is stressing you out. I hear you. I get it. Let's again, one day at a time.
Yeah. Um, I would say like there's probably still a minute chance that maybe we see a delay in the release of Switch 2 in America and Canada.
Hmm.
I'm not going to say it's impossible, but I think that this news makes it even more unlikely than it already was, and I thought it was very unlikely last week. So
Hmm.
take that for what you will.
Hmm.
A couple of other quick things here. We did confirm what a Switch 2 upgrade costs. It is $9.99 USD. So if you just have Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, and you don't have NSO, the expansion pack, which will get you that upgrade for free, you can just purchase that for $10. One
Hmm.
thing that we confirmed without a shadow of a doubt, 100% confirmation, there was a lot of misinformation flying around that physical games will cost 90 American dollars. That is not true. It has never been true. It was it basically was like an instance of like, telephone, telegraph, tell a friend.
Hmm.
And what happened was the I want to say the European price was 90 euros or something like that. People saw
Yeah.
that and was just like $90. Oh my god! And it turned into this whole big thing. That is not true. The game is going to cost you $80, and at this point, I don't know if there's a difference between the physical and the like digital version. And Nintendo has not confirmed that. I don't believe. Someone fact check me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe that they have confirmed that. So it's going to cost you $80 for Mario Kart World if you just
Okay.
buy the game and not the
And
bundle.
I think from what I understand too is most other games are going to stay $70. I mean, that's still like a bump from the 60 that we've been used to forever. But I think Mario Kart World is kind of the instance where they were like, it's worth $80 to us, Nintendo.
Yeah,
That's what they've been saying. And everything else is still kind of like in that $70 range. So yeah, I think that initial shock, sticker shock value kind of like somersaulted and snowballed into like a mess. So
Yeah.
it's not as bad as we thought. It's still not great, but it's not as bad as we thought.
It could be worse. Put it that way.
It could be worse.
Yeah. Okay, so a couple of other things too. So last week there was some confusion about whether or not if you bought a Switch 2 edition of a Nintendo game, if that would just be the Switch 1 cartridge and then the digital upgrade like code, I guess, or whatever. And that was kind of the assumption that we were working off last week. It has been confirmed from Nintendo that when you buy, and you know what, I better put a disclaimer. As far as we know, okay. So like I don't want anyone to take this as
allegedly
100% gospel, but it has been reported, and Nintendo did say this directly. So I have to assume this is safe. When you buy a Switch 2 edition, you get the game cart, and then that digital like code gets put onto that game cart. Meaning, if you buy the Switch 2 edition of Metroid Prime 4, and you want to go and you play the game, and you're just like, okay, great, I'm going to go and give this to my buddy so he can play it. You could take your cartridge out, you can give him the Switch 2 version of Metroid Prime 4. You could sell it afterwards if you want to. So, like, you will be able to sell the Switch 2 version of Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, whatever. Mm-hmm. That is what we know for right now. But the other thing that we also know, and this is more so a Breath of the Wild specific piece of news, is that the Nintendo Switch 2 edition of the game, which does cost $80, by the way, you know what? No, it's cost $70. I'm sorry. Oh my god, it costs $70 for this. That does not include the DLC. Mm-hmm. As far as we know.
As far as we know.
Now,
or understand.
Yes. This was a response from My Nintendo Store from the UK that confirmed that this game does not include paid DLC. Mm-hmm. Take this for... Yeah. Put it this way. Things could change. Like, I feel like the overall theme here is that, like, it would have been so easy for Nintendo to have, like, an FAQ on their website where the Switch 2, where you could just go down and say, mm-hmm. like, you know, what comes with a version of a Switch 2 enhanced version of a game? Does it come with DLC? How much is the upgrade? Blah, you know, X, Y, Z. Like, just have answers to these questions, and everybody's confused. Everybody's getting different information. So yeah, if you, for some reason, if you do not have Breath of the Wild and you've never played it and you want to buy it and the DLC for the Switch 2, it's gonna cost you about $90 because you're gonna buy the game and the digital upgrade for $70. And then the $20 DLC gets added on top of that. Now the good news is, if you own Breath of the Wild and you own the DLC, and you're not buying the Switch 2 upgrade, okay, you can buy the upgrade, and that will get applied to what you already own. That is the information that we think we know. Who's still with me?
Yeah. To me, that makes sense. I understand it's kind of sucky if we're not getting the DLC included with the Switch 2 upgrade if we haven't already owned it. But kind of as you and I were saying, if you don't already own it at this point, like, were you really looking to get it later? I mean, it's been almost 7 years, so yes. It kind of is what it is.
Yes. Yes. So let me try and like rephrase that, because I might have butchered the way that I worded that. So if you buy the Switch 2 edition of Breath of the Wild, that comes with the digital upgrade, and that costs you $70. Okay, so that's the base game. You can still purchase the DLC for 20 extra bucks, and that is obviously compatible with the upgrade as well. The same is true, of course, for Tears of the Kingdom, although of course Tears of the Kingdom doesn't have DLC. So I don't know. I kind of feel like you should have just included the DLC. I guess I get it why they didn't do it. I don't know. I just feel like you should have, though. You know, as like a customer, like there's already so much there's a lot of negative reaction to pretty much everything the Switch 2 reveal has generated, arguably overshadowing the actual Switch 2 reveal itself.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this could have just been something that maybe you just say, okay, I don't know, let's just, here's $20, here's Monk Mask Kashia, everybody just be happy with something. I don't know. I mean, you're right though. Like, if you haven't got the DLC and you haven't got Breath of the Wild at this point, you probably don't want it. So, there it is.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that takes us to the end of the news that came out of everything following last week. Unless by God I've missed anything, which is very, very possible.
I don't know if you missed any news, but I do know something that we haven't talked about, and it's not a big deal, but like I keep thinking about it, and it's actually kind of goofy that I keep thinking about it. So something that was confirmed for the Zelda games, especially like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, is that you're gonna get a second save file option for your like one Nintendo account. So say I have my 100% file. Did you not see that?
I didn't see that. No, that's great.
So say for my own Allison's Nintendo account save file of Tears of the Kingdom, I have a 100% save file. There's going to be a second save file, so you can play another game, which is so goofy because most Zelda games have 3 save files.
Yeah.
So like, it's kind of silly that I'm excited about that, but I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, like when I played Breath of the Wild for the second time, I did a second 100%. I used Sam's Nintendo account. I actually made her an account. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is actually just like crazy that wasn't something that you could do 8 years ago when the game came out. But I digress.
And correct me if I'm wrong, if I misinterpreted that, but I'm pretty sure I saw that and I was like, whoa, that's really exciting, even though it's the most simple thing.
Yeah. So there it is. All of the news as it pertains to Legend of Zelda in the last week. And if your head was spinning trying to keep up with all that, you are not alone, because mine was as well, trying to read and keep track of all that as well. Here is something indisputable that we know, and that, my friends, is that there is a new Hyrule Warriors game coming out this winter. Now, I'm kind of leaning towards maybe early 2026. I could see January, February for this title, making a lot of sense, but. Maybe not. We'll see. But what we're gonna do today is we're gonna go over and we are going to basically break down the trailer and see what we can see in the trailer, and then just kind of give some thoughts and reactions and all that kind of good stuff as we go ahead and do this. Before we even get started, I guess let me ask you a question, because I did see a lot of people talking about this. Are you excited for a new Hyrule Warriors game, like in this same world, in the same setting as the Wild era games, let's just call them, have been? Because I do see I do see a lot of people that were like, I'm kind of ready to move on, and I want to clarify too, because I saw someone in chat say that this said that it was winter 2025. It just said winter. It
did just say winter. Yeah. For me. Are you asking me that question?
I'm asking you that question. Are you excited to return to this world, this version of Hyrule, this version of Zelda, this version of Link, etc.?
I feel like I need to define what I've always said about I'm ready to move on from this world, and I meant like I don't need a Breath of the Wild 3.
Right.
I think having another Hyrule Warriors game in this like era that we're in, the Switch Zeldas, is totally fine. Because it's not like the next mainline title game that I'm going to be spending my next 300 hours in. I feel like this is something we always kind of, well, at least for me, always kind of wanted a little bit more from Tears of the Kingdom, just a tiny bit more. And now we're getting it. And we've always said that this was a possibility, that they were going to do the Age of Upheaval. And so it's happening. So I'm totally fine with this. What I don't want is like a third Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom size game in this era. I'm kind of over it, but this is fine.
I agree. I'm gonna go back on, because I think I would have said this like before on the show. I'm sure I would have. This is what I think. I I could be convinced to go for a third jaunt into this version of Zelda, this version of Link, but my caveat in non-negotiable is it has to be a completely new version of Hyrule. Like from the ground up new version. I think you could keep the art style. I think you could keep the voice actors. I think that you could keep the idea that like you can have the open world and go directly to the final boss, like you're cooking, all that kind of stuff. Like I think you could keep the idea of having runes or abilities, but like non-negotiable for me is like you have to be in a new world. You have to be in a new world. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll have to see what the story of this game is and if it sets up like any kind of loose ends to be explored in a potential like Breath of the Wild 3, let's call it. I have my doubts that it's going to do that, but I mean, we'll see. We'll see what it says. I did enjoy Age of Calamity, although I think like many of us, I was a little bit put off by like the story. It's so weird. Like Age of Calamity is such a weird game. In a bubble, like I think it's great. Like it was fun.
It's a great game.
The story was good. In a bubble, the story was really good, I thought.
I think though we were kind of
misled
and then gaslit afterwards when we were mad about it.
Yes. Oh, that was never what the story of the game was supposed to be about. It's like, yes, it was.
Yes, it was. That's what you said. And now Nintendo has been very careful with their language in marketing this new game. So
yes,
we will see what happens. But yeah, I think Age of Calamity was actually a fantastic game. Like, and all the different like fighting styles, the improvements from the first Hyrule Warriors games. I think it was great. But yeah, the marketing and like how it wound up being was definitely just like really put a lot of people off.
Indeed it did. Okay, Al, are you ready to start this trailer and start breaking everything down?
I'm on 0-0. Let's go.
On 0-0. Okay. I'll tell you when to hit play here, just so that we're on the same time. We have got the trailer up, of course. Very cool image of Princess Zelda and Rauru kind of doing their thing. I just want to point out just one more time, like what a cool logo this is.
Oh my god,
this logo just like so awesome.
As soon as we saw it on the direct, I even went back and watched my reaction. I'm like, this is so cool.
This logo is
whoever was in charge of that cooked. They did such a good job.
Yeah, this is man, this is just a cool logo. It looks so good.
If I have the sound on, are you going to be able to hear it? I don't think so.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out. Okay, let's go ahead and press play, and I'm going to be kind of pausing sporadically here, so I'll try and give some timestamps here. This is one not to do, who am I going to say? Not to do some shilling. To do some quick shilling. If you want to watch this on YouTube, this would be a good segment to watch on YouTube because you can follow along visually with us and just kind of stop where we stop as well. We made the executive decision just to like upload whole episodes now to YouTube. I think the Venn diagram between podcast listener and YouTube listener wasn't as much of an overlap as we thought. It's actually like kind of two separate circles doing its own thing. So so yeah, the whole episode is going to be up on YouTube for you to check out. So you should go do that. But let us begin here, Al. We are going to press play. We've got that awkward Nintendo Switch 2 animation.
I like it.
I think it's awkward. Here we go. I love the murals.
Joined hands with the Hylians.
The murals are really cool.
Dwelled on the surface. Their union led to a great and prosperous kingdom.
Okay, here we go.
But in time,
let's pause it here 25 seconds. So basically just like catching up with what we already know. The Sonia is indeed a Hylian, and of course Rauru is a Zonai, descendant from the heavens, the first king of Hyrule. And we've got Big Bad Ganondorf entering the scene here, and it looks like he's trying to do some pretty bad things to who we can only presume is Sonia. And you can see the oh god, I was about to call it this spiritual stone. What do they call these things in the game again?
Was it secret stones? Special stones? Something dumb.
Yes.
That wasn't very, they should have been something so much cooler. I think it was secret stones.
The secret stones, yes. is floating.
Special rocks.
Yeah, the special rocks. Yes. So Ganondorf is obviously up to no good, even so long ago. Let's press play. Look at that secret stone. My goodness.
A war was fought to vanquish this evil.
Got confirmation that Zelda's voice acting is back.
Yes. So I'm just pausing at 34 seconds. Actually, I'll rewind just a quick second here. So yes, Patricia Somerset obviously is back for Age of Imprisonment. You'd have to imagine that the rest of the voice cast is back. Like Raru's voice actor, I would imagine, is back.
I think it sounded like Raru when we'll hear it later, but when we originally viewed the trailer, it did sound like Raru. So
this footage right here is of Princess Zelda holding her secret stone, and obviously like this image is right from Tears of the Kingdom, so it's the same Zelda that we see in Tears of the Kingdom. Makes sense because like Age of Calamity had like a little bit of a prologue as well when when that game started. So 34 seconds in, let's continue.
Would call the imprisoning war.
The imprisoning war. Wow, there it is.
You truly have traveled back in time.
So I want to pause it here, 47 seconds. I don't know about you, Al. This looks like gameplay to me.
That's what I thought when we first saw the trailer during the direct. I was like, this looks like you could just play as Zelda.
Yeah.
And just walk around in, I'm guessing, are more like cinematic moments maybe, and not like the hack and slash moments in the game.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see, because I was like, this looks straight up like you're just walking as Zelda.
It looks like, if I could actually borrow something that the Fire Emblem series has done. By the way, I finished the Blue Lion path.
I'm so glad that things worked out for you.
Yes.
Nobody else knows what the heck we're talking about.
I was really upset because one of my team members I thought died, and I did not do their paralog mission in order to save them, but I never had the chance to, so I was really put off.
And Andy was messaging a bunch of us in the Discord, and we were all like,
I was not very happy.
We're so sorry, because we all knew what was going to happen.
I was very, very displeased, but nevertheless, there was a happy ending to be had there, and
yes.
And so now my Fire Emblem Three Houses journey is done, and I was like, well, you know what I got to do? One of the only Fire Emblem games. I've done the DLC. You're right. I need to do that. Maybe later. But I was just like, I haven't played Fire Emblem Engage yet, and I wanted to, but I just never got around to it. So I picked it up and I've been playing with it. And one of the things that you could do in that game, which kind of looks like what you're doing in here, is like after a battle is over, right? Like on the field, you could freely move around on the field and find any, like if there's treasure, or you could talk to your characters like after the battle. It's it's a pretty like neat little mechanic. It's almost like the monastery portion for all you Fire Emblem Three Houses fans that you could just like freely roam around to talk to people before a battle. This is kind of what this vibe is giving me, like, because the way that Zelda is positioned here, it certainly seems to me like it wouldn't be a stretch to imagine you just push forward and all of a sudden Zelda starts to move, you know?
It could be like that. It could be maybe before battles, like you start, like you pick a battle level or whatever, and you start by walking with Zelda, and then you run into a battle, and that's how the battle starts. Who knows? But I think if it's doable in other games, it's totally doable in this.
Yeah, and I mean, like, could be nothing too, right? Like, could just be like a cutscene that's kind of maybe looks like, or it gives a suggestion that maybe you should be able to play as Princess Zelda here. I have to imagine, like, based on it, we'll talk about this as we get to the end, though, but like I gotta imagine that like Zelda is your principal character in this game and not Link.
Yes, I think so. And this looks like it starts with her as soon as she goes back in time. Like, she's still wearing the same clothes as she was in the cavern.
Yeah.
At the beginning of Tears of the Kingdom, it looks like she just met Rauru and Sonia, so that looks like that's where we're starting off.
Indeed. Okay, well let's keep it going here. Let's press play.
Music is incredible.
Good music, yeah, for sure.
So that's Hyrule Castle?
Okay, hold on. Oh, I went too far. We gotta go back. Okay, so we're pausing at 55 seconds, and my goodness, Al, what modest beginnings we have.
Yes. Just a little baby Hyrule Castle from the past.
This is a classy castle, I think. This looks pretty cool.
This is like,
Looks more like a fortress.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. It looks more like a fortress. And now that I'm remembering some of the scenes from Tears of the Kingdom, like when Ganondorf was inside the castle, like this outside fits the inside that I'm remembering.
Yeah, like it kind of had like Golden Hall from Rohan vibes a little bit, where like you would walk, at least based on the cutscenes that I remember, you kind of walk in, it looked like there was this big hallway, and then at the end was Raru's throne, and then that's where you see Ganondorf like pledging his allegiance. He knows he's lying the whole time, of course, but like this is I don't know, kind of like a cool, I guess like prehistoric version of Hyrule Castle, something a little bit different. I wonder if it goes deep, like if there's like levels that go in the ground.
Ooh, maybe. Don't know.
That could be pretty cool.
Zonai, they're very technologically advanced. There could be a whole system going on underneath all that.
There very well could be. So yeah, it's kind of a neat shot of Hyrule Castle here. Obviously a very different Hyrule Castle than what we know it will become. So kind of, I don't know, kind of cool to get like a little history lesson. Let's keep going.
Castle?
Now here we go. 57 seconds. The story leading into The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Now.
Where have we heard that before?
Yes. Fool me once, shame on you. But fool me twice, can't get fooled again.
I want to
as they say.
When we were watching the direct, I swear to God, you and I both looked into the camera like we were on The Office as soon as we saw this title thing. And we were both like, well, is it though?
We are not the only people that did this, by the way. I think that like every single person that really played through Age of Calamity had the exact same feeling. And it was just like, this is what you told me last time, and I'll be damned if I'm gonna get fooled again. Now, listen, like, and I believe they said their language was very specific, and I believe they specifically used the word like, this is a canonical story, right?
Right. Yes, they did use that word.
So, I mean, I would imagine, like, Nintendo's not dumb. I have to imagine that they heard the feedback from Age of Calamity and hopefully recognized that a lot of people were, I don't know, like, was I upset about it? I mean, I guess, but like disappointed maybe, or like you felt like you got shortchanged. Yeah.
I imagine they did. My question is like, who, like, of all the people that Age of Calamity had to go through for quality assurance and making sure the marketing, like, I don't know, like, all of that, it went through all of that, and they still thought that was a good idea, and you can't even, like, mark it down to, like, mistranslation or anything like that, because Nintendo of America was 100% behind it, too, because they had the Twitter account doing all that marketing for it, and being like, this is what happened 100 years ago, and
yeah,
you just have to be really careful with your language, as we've been finding out, and as you know from, like, just content creation in general, you just have to be very careful because people are going to listen to you and take your word for it. So I'm glad they're being more careful now, but I still am like on guard.
I think that is something I would agree with as well. Like, even if they said this and this was like another complete like side story, it had nothing to do with the narrative, it was like it basically was a second Age of Calamity, I think at this point I would even be fine with that, because now my expectations are fine. Yeah,
just
like,
tell us though.
They've told us this, but my expectations are, now I don't believe you. You don't, like, even though you're telling me this, I still don't believe you, because you told me that last time and it wasn't true.
Right. I mean, I agree, and I'm like that too. I don't believe you, but at the same time, if they're gonna continue with that, having these specific narratives that are not true, like that is gonna upset me. Like, I'll be upset.
Yeah. I to be honest, I remember feeling as soon as we saw the BBG, the Baby Guardian in the demo, like, do a portal thing, I was like, oh boy, this is very different than I think.
Honestly, everybody went to, so in our Discord, everybody went straight to the Discord as soon as that demo, and we were able to play the demo. It was it was like, as you would say, one of those CIA moments because everything was all black screen because we had all the spoiler
Yes.
warnings and stuff on it. And yeah, everybody was having the exact same feeling. And we were like, well, maybe just wait. Maybe we just got to see how the game actually turns out. No, it was bad.
Yeah.
It was not great.
Which is ironic because, like, spoilers for Age of Calamity here, okay? Skip ahead about a minute or so if you haven't played Age of Calamity. This is your chance. But, like, the moment of the game where the present-day champions came back in time, like, that was so awesome.
It was very cool.
Like, that was great.
It was like reminiscent to we experienced later in Tears of the Kingdom when all the champions show up to help Link in the Hyrule Castle or at the end too. Like that's really cool stuff.
It was like Avengers when everybody comes back at the end, right? To take on Thanos. And that was really cool. But like I don't know, like that then I was just like, well, this is especially now going to not be anything canonically because like I thought that maybe well yeah nothing happened. This is what I remember thinking at the time, like maybe they're going to be like extremely bold and bring back the champions for Breath of the Wild 2 at the time, and of course that didn't happen.
Yeah, I remember being like, I swear to God, if they have anything Age of Calamity related in Tears of the Kingdom, I will be so upset. And thank God it didn't happen. I wanted it to be contained in its own bubble, and thank God it was. So,
well, let's keep going here.
That's how I feel.
Okay, so we're resuming play. 57 seconds.
That must mean this really is the past.
Yes, Zelda, you are in the past. Okay,
I love
and here
music.
we go. So pausing at 106. We got a lot of the same kind of enemies as before. Yes. Some Stalnoxes, some Hinoxes, some Bokoblins, all of those kind of cool guys to
Although
fight.
they do have like the horns and stuff now, like they
Yes.
do in Tears.
Yes. So yeah, let's keep going. And we'll pause here at again 107 and confirmed our first other playable character is Rauru, which I feel like makes a lot of sense. And I'm really glad because I thought this version of Rauru was like awesome. This might be my favorite version of Rauru actually, like ever.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I'm like, what do you mean there's only one version of Rauru? No, I get what you mean. Yes, I really love this version of Rauru. I think he is amazing and awesome. Yeah.
So cool weaponry. He's got like what looks like a lance, which looks pretty darn cool.
Which is kind of fun, because doesn't Dimitri have a lance in Three Houses?
Does.
Same voice actor, so that's fun.
Is it the same voice actor?
Yes.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that is ironic, actually, that I just finished playing. Dimitri's story was pretty good in that game.
In the end, it was better, right?
It was. I still have to say this. I do still think I might put Blue Lions beneath the other two in terms of like how much I like the story.
I haven't played the Black Eagles yet. I don't like Edelgard. I just don't like her.
You got to play the Black Eagles route.
I don't like it. Like, I don't want her to have any kind of redemption.
You got to do it. You got to do it. If you'd have finished Blue Lions, you would have wanted to play Edelgard's path. Tell you that. Okay. So let's keep on going here. We're at 107. I'm going to be doing a bunch of like different pausing and stuff here, so forgive me. So I'm not even going to give timestamps here. I'm just pausing at random. So Rauru doing a bunch of cool stuff with his lance. He's throwing it out. It's like a spinning scythe attack. Looks very cool. Worth noting that there's like this gnarly blood moon going on while Rauru is fighting all of these creatures. I have to imagine this takes place maybe towards the beginning of the game.
Yes, that makes sense.
Tears theme is great. Oh, and there's the man himself. We'll go back just a quick second. There is Big Daddy Ganon. Looking very much like Dracula in Castlevania, by the way, sitting on his throne, like just, you know.
I've seen the first 2 episodes of that finally. It's pretty good.
Of Castlevania Nocturne or
the initial one?
Oh, the initial one. I was just gonna say that's really funny because Sam and I watched 2 episodes of Castlevania Nocturne season 2 last night as well.
Gotcha.
Do we like the? How do we like it, Al?
Yeah, I like it. I think it's great.
Oh, excellent! You're gonna love season 2 is like peak.
I gotta continue. But I have watched the first 2 episodes. It was really good. As for Ganondorf, we haven't gotten the confirmation that Matthew Mercer comes back because I don't think we hear Ganondorf's voice at all in this trailer. But I would hope so, and I would think that he would be down because he's a big, huge Zelda fan, and so I would think that he'd be down to come back as Ganondorf. And I am so excited to learn more about him. I felt like I was left wanting more from Tears of the Kingdom as far as Ganondorf goes.
Yes.
I want more. So I'm excited to hopefully learn more. And Ganondorf is playable in the original Hyrule Warriors, so I imagine he will be playable in this.
I cannot imagine any scenario where Ganondorf is not playable in this game. In Age of Calamity, you had Calamity Ganon who was playable, which, by the way, Calamity Ganon looked awesome in that game.
Yes, very cool.
I mean, like, pretty much all your bad guys were playable except for Asturd. You got to play as Koga, you got to play as Suga, you got to play as Calamity Ganon. I don't think there was other than the Blights, which obviously you didn't get to play as, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah, same in the OG Hyrule Warriors. You could play as all the villains too. So
yeah,
I'm really stoked.
And except for Vaati, which is a crime.
Well, Vaati's not in it. Wait,
I know. No, he's not, which is a crime.
No, I meant like all the villains that are in it.
Yes.
But Ganondorf has a bunch of different weapons that he uses in Tears of the Kingdom. He has his Phantom Ganon, and like those hands. So I could totally see like a bunch of different scenarios where you could pick different weapons for him and have different powers. I think he's going to be awesome to play as.
Okay, so moving ahead here, we'll pause at 114. So Minoru is our other playable character, and a couple of things to pick up from this scene here. Number one is that we're in the depths.
In the depths, yep.
In the depths, so there's going to be some fighting going on there. So the depths existed even back in these days.
Yep.
I guess is kind of cool. You're fighting a Frox as well, which will be a nice new enemy to take on.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is obviously that you're just playing as Minoru herself and not like the construct version of Minoru.
Right. Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. Let's see if we can see what kind of weapon she uses here. Let's just go ahead. It looks like she's riding a motorcycle, actually. So I could totally see Minoru kind of being one of those characters, almost like Zelda was in Age of Calamity, where like she uses gadgets to fight and not like her like a traditional weapon. I think
you need to go forward like maybe a couple more seconds.
A couple more seconds? Okay, let's see what we got. Well, by God, it looks like she's using a gadget there. There you go.
She's using the constructs. So yeah, that makes sense. And her power is that she like can cast her spirit. That's why she's the spirit sage. Yes. She casts her spirit into things. So this makes sense to me.
I totally forgot that she's in this construct. You could tell I haven't watched this trailer since it aired. I wouldn't mind like seeing Minoru just kind of like get out though and bust out like her, I don't know, like a little technology weaponry or something like that. I think that there could be like some pretty fun gameplay options, but I mean the construct here looks absolutely great. So yeah, no, and we're going forward here. We have a mysterious fist with what looks like, I don't know, is that a secret stone now?
Fist. That's Raru's fist with the secret stone.
Are we about to see Raru power up?
Because that's the one that he holds Ganondorf in that seal forever, and then Zelda picks up the secret stone that drops from the hand at the beginning of Tears.
There it is. Makes sense. Princess Zelda is in her Tears outfit and looking very cool, and also looking like she is playing very differently than how her forms in Age of Calamity played. Both the Sheikah Slate form and then the Divine form as well. It looks like she's got some, I don't know, some other kind of time divine magic here or something.
Yeah, her time magic so she has time and light magic, so that this makes a lot of sense. She's using kind of like that stasis time warpy backy thing that she does, so that's pretty cool.
The warpy backy. I love that, actually. Taking on a big old Lionel. I'm sure that this is the same cutscene where like Raru is fighting all of his enemies as well. Looks like kind of the same idea here.
Yeah, the same like fight or level.
Yeah. Oh, and that's cool. Yeah, we get a nice shot of Zelda using her time magic. That looks like just like a very like visually just cool shot, you know?
Yes, it looks amazing.
All right, so going forward. Oh, look at all those hits. So it looks like, hold on, let's zoom back just a quick sec here, Al. It looks like Zelda has some sort of, I don't know, like a torch almost.
Mm-hmm.
Zonai
Yeah, it's just
contraption.
like the Zonai swords that they like retract and come in and out. So that makes sense. But I think she's
Man.
infusing it with her light powers.
Yeah, that looks like so cool. Like
Yeah.
the first day I was like, that looks like the Olympic torch when I saw it.
Yeah, I get you.
So yeah, very, very cool. Love Zelda's design, and I'm happy that we'll get to play as this version of Zelda. I thought that I think this costume is like now one of just the most like instantly most recognizable and iconic versions of Princess Zelda.
Yes, it's incredible. I love it so much. I think
Okay.
she's stunning.
Here's the money shot. So 128 with all of our characters that presumably we are going to be playing as here. And you know, I want to skip ahead, Al. Can we come back to this in just a quick sec? Because I just want to, I wanted to end kind of on this, but I want to skip ahead and just, if there's anything else that we need to talk about as well.
Yeah, we could skip ahead.
So there's Rauru, and there is Zelda, and this is the image, of course, that the thumbnail was based off of. Very cool looking poses here from our heroes. They both look awesome.
I want to say, like, this means that we can have, like, team-up attacks. I don't think that was a thing in Age of Calamity. Correct me if I'm wrong, but, like, you usually like, gear up a meter so that you have, like, an ultimate attack. This looks like you can have team-up ones with other characters.
And that's pretty cool, too. Let's fast forward, see if we can see any of that. Oh, there it is. Yes, Rauru and Zelda are... Let's see if I can pause it on the right spot. There we go. Well, this doesn't look like anything, actually, but we got two hands being joined together, and I believe you're right. I bet you there's team-up attacks here to be unleashed. Very, very cool.
Correct me if I'm wrong for anybody who's played Age of Calamity recently, but I just don't remember that being a thing.
I don't remember either. We got this cool logo just one more time.
Sick. It's so cool. Oh my god, I can't get over it.
Coming
I might make
this
that a
winter.
wallpaper.
All right. So I want to go back to this shot here. Not this shot actually, but this shot here of our champions and our playable characters. So this is where I'm a little bit curious what this game is going to do, because what we think we know for sure is that this is a canonical story that takes place obviously in the past. And I guess my question here is, like, that really limits the amount of playable characters that you can have. So, like, we're looking at the roster here, and, you know, obviously we know Zelda, we know Rauru, we know Minoru. I have to imagine that you're playing as the champions too, which we'll talk about in just a second. But, like, there's no Link, there's no Pura, there's no Robbie, there's no, like, all of these characters that you might expect to see playable are not going to be here, or at least shouldn't be here based on what we know. That could change. I could see a scenario where maybe Zelda uses some time magic or something. I don't know, but I would imagine that if that's the case, it's certainly not going to be for, like, the first chapter of the game, you know?
And at that point, it would not be canonical. Oh my god, So I could see Sonya also being a playable character. I could see Ganondorf being playable. Maybe his like, he has a few henchmen that are named after Kome and Kotake,
Yeah,
maybe.
I want to kind of run through some possibilities of who we think could be playable, but even so, like, I don't know. Like, to me, it's like either this is a really small roster, or, like, you are introducing a lot of brand new characters to play as. And I don't know if that's the worst thing either, by the way.
No, yeah, I don't think that's the worst thing, because sometimes when you have games with ginormous rosters like Smash Bros, the OG Hyrule Warriors, maybe even Age of Calamity, it gets overwhelming. And, like, sure, they encourage you to play as all these different characters, especially in specific levels, and that's fine. But it does get overwhelming, and sometimes it's like a slog, because you're like, I really don't like how this character plays. I want to find my favorite and play as them the whole time. So, and then it also gives you more time to focus on specific characters. And I will say, like, Hyrule Warriors is good about, like, differentiating the characters. They did a really good job in Age of Calamity differentiating the old champions and the new champions. I thought that was a very good job. But, like it just gives us more time to focus on characters that we don't know, like these sages. Maybe we'll like get to learn more about them and how they move
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. So I agree. Maybe the roster not being that big is actually kind of a good thing.
Well, I mean,
At
like,
least supposedly that we're assuming.
yeah, for me, I thought the sages in Tears of the Kingdom were just like one of the most disappointing things.
Yeah.
There, because I mean, like, who were they? Like, we have no idea.
No idea.
They're nameless. They're faceless. Like, they're all wearing masks. They really were nothing characters. And I have to imagine that like all four of these guys here, the Rito, the Gerudo, the Zora, and the Goron, are going to be playable. I kind of do wonder, like, what possibly are we going to do to make these guys play and feel different than the previous two Rito, the previous two Gerudo, the previous two Zora, the previous two Gorons that we played as? You know what I mean?
I mean, the fact that they differentiated those characters really well the first time around, I can see them doing something different for these guys. Like, I think it's possible.
I think it is too. I have faith in them because I was really impressed by how different like Urbosa and Riju felt to play as.
Yes. Yeah.
Or Yunobo, his weapon being the rock, like the marbled rock, I thought was great. But like, I'm like, maybe that's actually a good thing that we don't know anything about these characters, because maybe we can introduce new things like that make them distinct. But I certainly think we have a little bit more of our work cut out for us, though, making it to a point where like you kind of feel connected to these characters and like want to play as Zora champion, whoever, right? Or whatever. So that will be very interesting to see what exactly we can do. Now, another thing that I've heard a theory bandied about here, Al, tell me what you think of this. I've heard a theory, but I think it contradicts the notion that this would be a canonical story. I've heard an idea that perhaps Zelda is going to use her time magic to bring Link back, and it kind of creates a bootstrap paradox, because then Link is the hero from 10,000 years ago that beat like the evil, you know what I mean? And then like it in the future, but then I kind of feel like, one, how would Link not remember that? Two, that kind of makes what Zelda does, turning into a dragon, like really for naught. And then I guess like three is, I'm not sure how you have a happy ending to this game necessarily then, and I guess like you could still, your happy ending could be like Ganondorf is sealed away, and that's fine, but I don't know what, like I can't not see playing as Link in some form or fashion in this game, but I don't know how we'd get there either.
Echoes, so it's fine. I mean, we kind of did for a tiny second, but like, listen, if Zelda could just bring Link back and forth through time, then like, why couldn't she go back in Tears? You know, like if we're gonna introduce that kind of craziness, like you just, oh my god, I don't even want to think about that, to be honest. Like, that's just ridiculous. So like,
Indeed.
We used to, before Tears of the Kingdom came out, we used to like debate and like theorize that maybe Link would go in the past and be the hero for, like, we totally thought that was a viable theory back then. And so now that hasn't happened, I'm like, I don't really want to see it happen. So, I don't know. I don't want to see any time travel, except for Zelda, of course, getting back in time. I don't really want to see all the characters that we've already played as in Age of Calamity, except maybe Tulin. We haven't played as Tulin. I'm totally okay with not having Link there. I want to focus on Zelda. I want to focus on Ganondorf. I want to the Rauru is going to be so sick. And I'd love to get to know these other sages more. Like, I think we have a good foundation here. We don't always have to have like the status quo in order for it to be a good, fun, enjoyable experience.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I wouldn't mind if Link didn't show up. I don't know. Something tells me Link is going to be a playable character in this game by hook or by crook, and I don't know how.
Maybe there will be some like present day stuff, like
maybe.
Like you can like go on a mission with Link and Tulin in the future or in the present, while Zelda's doing stuff in the past. That's fine. I could see that being a thing, and that's totally okay.
I can see that too, because I do think that there's like a lot of characters from the present that could make engaging playable characters. Like I think Sidon's wife would be a good one to make a playable
Mhm.
character. I think that you could do a good job making like a, I don't know, like a Hudson as a playable character or something like that. Like Tulin is an obvious one.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you're right. Like I think that Sonya is going to end up being a playable character. I think that Sonya desperately needs some kind of like character development in this
That's
game.
fine. Yeah. I was also gonna say if this game doesn't, so you know how we anticipated because of what they told us that the Age of Calamity was gonna end with the champions dying, you know, and we were
Yeah.
gonna be really upset by that, and Zelda going to then seal the Calamity Ganon away. That's what we totally anticipated. So what I'm anticipating for this game is that Sonya's going to die, and Raru's going to sacrifice himself to seal Ganon by the end. And that is, when they say canonical, that's what has to happen in this game for them to be true to their word. So I'm just saying, if Sonya is
Indeed.
playable, she's only playable up until a point, at least as far as the campaign goes, you know.
Indeed. But again, I feel like you can't go into the past and not have her as a playable character. Even like, because like these games kind of straddle the line. Like there's, you know, obviously there's like the canonical story, but there's also just the part where it's like, you want to play as Calamity Ganon, go for it. Like, here you go. You can play as Calamity Ganon.
Yeah, that's fine. But I mean, it doesn't happen in like the main campaign story.
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess a part of me is just like, I don't trust that they're going to stick to the canon of what's happened already,
Which
you know?
is fine. Just don't say it's canonical then.
But and they already did. So I mean, like, you're right. Like the only canonical thing is like Sonya doesn't make it, right? Like that's literally it. Like she doesn't make it, and Rauru doesn't make it at the end either. But Ganondorf is defeated, so you can kind of have your happy ending. I don't know.
Oh my gosh, I just had a thought. Like, if you do get to play as Ganondorf in the post Sonya stuff, like you get to have his ultimate Ganondorf demise cloak thing. Oh my god, I just am imagining all his powers being so cool. Ooh, I'm so excited about that.
I think that we are going to play as Twin Rova in this game too. I think we're gonna do it.
Two little henchmen that hang out with him. Yeah,
I think
cool.
so. Yeah, I think so. Otherwise, like, why drop that little Easter egg in there? I think this game needs playable characters. Like, how many did Age of Calamity have? Like 15 plus,
and I mean,
right?
you could play as Suga, so he's basically a henchman. So why not? You know?
Yeah.
What if Koga's hanging out? 10,000 years ago.
Maybe he is. I don't know.
Koga ancestor. Who knows? I would love it.
so I just, because I'm kind of struggling here, because like we've got these 7, and I have to imagine that these 7, the 4 sages, Zelda, Rauru, Minoru, are all playable, and we know 3 of them for sure are. And I have to imagine that the sages are playable too. So we've got 7. I feel like there's got to be some way to play as Link. I feel like there's got to be some way to play Sonya, so that's 9. Ganondorf, I'm sure, will make his way in there. That's 10. I just feel like we need playable characters. So, like, if the game wants to go and introduce, like, new playable characters and introduce them in the past, I'm actually, like, I'm okay with that. I do think that that's a tough road to go down, though. But yes. Maybe one that's worth it.
I think so. I think, yeah, if you have, like, more intriguing characters from the past, there's some people that are mentioned in the past that we don't ever see or hear from. Like, the advisor or whatever who's writing down all those like tablets that you find up in the sky.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe they could be involved. I don't know, but like that would be cool to introduce some new characters because there's a bunch of the past that we don't know. So it's not like out of the realm of possibility that other people were there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. And I'm excited for like the locations that you can play at too. Like I think that if you were to have like an arena kind of set by, Gorondia or whatever, like the fire temple is called. I think that could be really cool. I think if you have some that take place in the sky, like up at the Temple of Time, that would be really cool too.
That would be cool.
Yeah, like I think there's a lot of potential for this game, and I'm happy that it's getting made. I do have some reservations though. I will say, like, you know, after what we saw in Age of Calamity, and you know what, if they just wanted to make like kind of a fun, goofy spin-off game, I feel like they totally could have done that. But I think that they've already kind of put themselves in a tough position by like doubling down on the fact that like this is a canonical story and these events lead directly into Tears of the Kingdom.
Yep. I guess we'll see what happens. I mean, imagine if there is like a post Rauru like sacrificing himself kind of gameplay or whatever, and like being able to fight as Zelda as a dragon. That would be really cool.
That would be cool. You know what? I was just about to say as well. I think that you could introduce 3 new characters.
You could.
And I think you should.
I did think about them, but I didn't say it.
I'm going to say it.
Just say it.
I think that you should introduce a version of Nehru, of Faror, and of Din. And I think that those should be playable characters. And I think at some point in this game, they should gobble up those secret stones and then turn into Naedra, Farosh, Dinral. That's kind of what I thought the DLC of Tears of the Kingdom was going to focus on, to be honest with you. Before they said that there was no DLC. I was just like, it makes real sense to see like the dragons, you know, how they would come to be.
I don't know how they would do that in this like this time frame, because clearly those dragons, Minoru had to get that knowledge from somewhere, and I think it's because she knew who those dragons were in the past and have seen them take on this draconification transformation or whatever. So I don't know in the time frame that we have that we could see them do that, but I mean, it would be cool.
Oh, I think we could see that. I think we could easily see that. Because, like, I feel like that would be, like, again, like, we need playable characters. Those are 3 characters that are both new and fresh, but that we know is, it's kind of like Rauru. Like, we know Rauru, but we don't know this version of Rauru. And the same could be true for those 3. I think that would be, like, a really cool thing to do. Because, like, then you could have, like, them use magic attacks, maybe, like, their I was about to say their final smash. I can't remember what the Age of Calamity equivalent is.
Yeah,
but maybe they could transform into their dragon form. I don't know, but like I do know that in Tears of the Kingdom, you never see the 3 dragons. Like you never see them in the past.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that'd be cool.
I mean, yeah, now that I think about it, like, it could have happened to other people who turned into dragons, but my assumption was always that Minoru had seen it happen to Din, Faror, and Nehru.
Yeah,
and that's how she knows about the draconification thing.
And who's to say, like, she isn't with those 3. They do that right then. They're dragons, and that's how she knows. And she writes it down, or I don't know, something like that.
It had to have happened before telling Zelda about it, is what I'm saying. Is like, how does that work in the time frame?
And I think that you can still have that. Like, I don't think that contradicts itself necessarily there. So I don't know. I think that'd be cool as well. I mean, we really didn't get like a whole lot on this game. It was a pretty short, pretty safe trailer just to introduce it.
Trailer.
Yeah, exactly. Clearly there's going to be a lot more coming in the next couple of months. I'm sure that there's going to be a Nintendo Direct in like June or July or something like that. We'll probably get some more information there. But yeah, I thought it was cool to get it. Like, this game just made so much sense. We've been talking about it for I don't even know how long, 2 years. So yeah, glad that it's finally happening, and we don't have to wait too long for more stuff about this game. I don't imagine. I think we're going to see some more in June.
Pretty quickly, I think so. I agree.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do with those 4. I was going to call them champion sages, I guess. Really looking forward to seeing if there's like a backstory on the, you know, what would be cool? It's like if somehow these 4 were like the same 4 from Age of Calamity, and like Baby Guardian sent them to a different timeline or something like it. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine like the face palming and the groans and stuff? Like, you know, the Gerudo champion takes her mask off and it's her bow, or it's like alternate Riju or whatever, and you're like, oh my god. Or maybe it's the version of Urbosa that didn't die in that timeline, or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I had to say something, and I'm sure I've talked about this before, but it's something that's always bugged me. So I'm on that screen still of like the money shot with all the sages and Minoru and Robert. Something that's always bugged me, and I don't get it, is that everything that isn't like humanoid, like Hylian or a Gerudo, they have short legs and long torsos. Like, I just never understood that. Like the Zoras, especially the Zonai, they've got really short legs and really long torsos. But they're so tall.
Dude, the Gerudo's legs go up to Zelda's shoulders.
I know, because the Gerudo are tall. That makes sense. I'm talking about the non-humanoid, like Zonai, Gorons.
Well, I mean those Goron legs are short and squat, but they're built for power.
I'm
No,
not saying
no
that
doubt.
they're not built for power. I've just always wondered, like, why was it designed that way? This is just something that my eye has always gone to, and I'm like, why?
Well, when we get that elusive interview with EGA and Oma on the Zelda Cast, we're gonna drill
on
them.
with their legs and their torsos.
Hey, Anuma, explain yourself. What's up with these guys? Why are their legs so damn short?
I don't know why I've always focused on that, but it's just been a thing. You know what that also just reminded me of is whatever happened to that like Masterworks book. I know they released it in Japan, but I was thinking it would come here too.
Maybe to coincide with this, who knows? You know what? You know what the other thing I do find curious. Okay, I do find curious. You'll remember that it was well after Breath of the Wild came out, like well after. I think it was for the DLC actually, and that's when they released the amiibo for the 4 champions, right?
Yeah.
It is kind of curious that like the 4 new champions are getting amiibo released in and around the same time. I'm just saying.
No, stop putting stuff into the universe. Like,
listen. I'm just saying, based on what we have seen previously with Age of Calamity, I know that this is supposed to be a canonical tale. I don't know if I believe them. I don't know if they have my trust, Al.
they don't have my trust either, but like I feel like it would be so stupid to say this is canonical and have it not be. Like it's just that is such a dumb decision. Like
you know what? I don't disagree, but like what about this last couple of weeks has been like PR 101, let's just call it.
I don't know. You know what sucks though about all like the news and stuff like happening is that direct was so awesome, and I feel like it kind of sucks that all this bad stuff, quote unquote bad stuff, is happening because like the direct was so cool, like that was so hype, and I'm a little mad that other things are overshadowing how cool it was.
Yeah. I mean, fair enough. And by the way, that seems like a perfect segment to piggyback off of because on Wednesday we released an episode of the Omega Metroid podcast, and Dak went hands-on with the Switch 2. So if you want to check out that episode, I highly encourage you to do so. You can hear the thoughts on like how the Switch 2 physically feels to hold, how the new Joy-Cons feel, how mouse controllers work. We spent a lot of time going over that. We did talk a lot about Mario Kart World. We talked a lot about Metroid Prime 4, obviously. We talked Drive X Drift. Oh. Wait a sec. Drift X Drive, is whatever that game is called. And spoiler, it was more fun than it looks. I'll say that. Okay. Now what Dak wasn't in love with, and you'll have to listen to the episode to see why, he did not love Donkey Kong Bonanza.
No. Aw, that's a bummer.
Indeed. So
is that just Dak, or is that just do you think it's a legitimate concern? Not to say that his concern isn't legitimate.
I'll say this because I don't want to give it away. I think that my initial thought is that this didn't look like much of a Donkey. It looked like a game that had Donkey Kong in it rather than it looked like a Donkey Kong game, and he basically echoed the exact same feelings.
Fair.
So take that for what you will, but you should listen to the episode to get the full impressions there.
Okay.
Any final thoughts on the Age of Imprisonment trailer?
Nope.
Reveal.
I think I've said all I want to say.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, everybody. We are going to be taking your questions next week. We got a bunch on Spotify already, so we'll get a Blue Sky post up. If you have any questions, you can also leave a comment on Spotify for this episode, and I promise we'll go ahead and actually read them this time. And of course, you could ask us on Discord, and as mentioned, over on Blue Sky as well. So yeah, it could be anything regarding the Switch 2, regarding prices, regarding Age of Imprisonment, regarding Wind Waker, regarding whatever. The future of Zelda. Ask us a question, and we will get those answered on next week's show. I think that is it, Al. I think that's it. think we're going to
That's
jam
it.
out of here. So thank you so much for watching, everybody. Of course, if you want to watch the full-length episodes with video, head on over to Zelda Dungeon's YouTube page. All the episodes are just going up there. So hey, do us a solid and check it out. We are, of course, going to get out of here, so we wanted to wish everybody a great rest of your day. Check us out over on Blue Sky. You can follow us at the Zelda Cast, at Spiteri316, and at Allison Aletha. And hey, wherever you get your podcast, go like and subscribe. Leave us a sweet review if you want, and if you wanted to make it 5 stars, even better. That would be really awesome. We'd appreciate that. It helps other people find the podcast. And of course, if you do got a Zelda fan in your life, tell them where they can get their weekly Zelda fix. We have a Patreon as well, patreon.com/spnet. If you really want more Zelda stuff, there is bonus content that is going on over there. That, my friends, is going to do it for us. So until next week, we'll see what next week brings. But until then, take care.
Bye.
Hey everyone! If you enjoyed this clip and want to see more of the Zelda Cast, make sure to head over to your favorite podcast platform of choice and subscribe. There are over 200 episodes in the vault that will provide you with hundreds of hours of Zelda content for you to enjoy. You can listen to us when you're on a walk, fighting Ganon, trying to sleep, whatever. And if you want to see these shows as they happen, make sure to head over to twitch.tv/the Zelda Cast, where you can watch our beautiful faces talk about Zelda every single week. Don't miss out, and we'll see you next time.